Good morning. On behalf of IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it gives me, Manasi, immense delight in extending a hearty welcome to all of you, especially our honorable chief guest, esteemed dignitaries, members, and invitees, for the public session of the 110th Annual General Meeting of the IMC. I invite our chief guests and dignitaries to kindly take their seats on the dais. Srimati Rajashri Ji Birla, Dr. Lalit Kanodia, Mr. Raj Nair, Mr. Arvind Pradhan, and Mr. Ajit Mangrulkar. A very warm welcome to you, madam. Welcome, gentlemen. And good morning, everybody, once again. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, is in town. And he has called for a special meeting of all the cabinet ministers of the government of Maharashtra. Shri Jaikumar Rawal, Honorable Minister for Tourism and Employment Guarantee Scheme, Government of Maharashtra, was to attend this event. But due to this unexpected cabinet meeting, he could not be present. However, he has conveyed his apology and has also mentioned that he may join us later during lunch. Nevertheless, he has sent an audio message as well, which will be played during the course of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed very fortunate and privileged to have as the chief guest for the AGM, Srimati Rajashri Ji Birla, Chairperson, Aditya Birla Center for Community Initiatives and Rural Development. She heads the group's apex body responsible for development projects which include activities in 5,000 villages reaching out to 7.5 million people, 18 hospitals, and 42 schools with a strength of 42,000 children. She is the chairperson of FICCI First Ever Expert Committee on CSR, President of Sangeet Kala Kendra, a center for performing arts. The Government of India bestowed the Padma Bhushan on her. Some of the other distinctive awards conferred upon her include FICCI Flow Great Beti Awards Lifetime Achievement Award, Wise Lifetime Achievement Award by IMC, Economic Times Corporate Citizen of the Year, CEO India CSR Leader, Fine Arts Society Stri Ratna Award, Corporate Citizen of the Year Award by AIMA, Global Golden Peacock Award for CSR, Polio Eradication Champion Award by Rotary International. In fact, in acknowledgement of the family's continuing commitment to polio eradication and raising literacy levels in India, the portrait of late Shri Aditya Birla and Srimati Rajashri Birla have been placed in the Rotary International Hall of Fame in Evanston, USA. She is a director on the board of all the major Aditya Birla group of companies in India and abroad. I request Dr. Lalit Kanodia to kindly felicitate our chief guest, Srimati Rajashri Ji Birla. After the floral welcome, this is a silver plaque, a token of reverence. Thank you so much. May I now call upon Dr. Lalit Kanodia, President, IMC, for the welcome address.
No, I'll now speak. Give me the... Our chief guest, Srimati Rajshri Birla. Unfortunately, Mr. Rawal is not here, but he'll join us hopefully over lunch. Our honorable trustees, past presidents present in this audience, managing committee members, president and members of our chambers of commerce and associations, who are our very respected members, chairman of committees, Mr. Raj Nair, incoming president, members of IMC, IMC secretariat members, ladies and gentlemen, it has been my proud privilege to lead the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the past year. This is the chamber that has given birth to many other chambers. This is a chamber that has given us several union cabinet ministers. This is the chamber of which Mahatma Gandhi was a member. This is the chamber that, together with the Mahatma, fought for India's domestic business and industry and the independence movement. Despite this, 16 of our former presidents were knighted by the British. So a very unique thing that happened. I remain firmly committed to the belief that it's only private enterprise that can raise the GDP and per capita income of this country. It's only private enterprise that can create employment. It's only private enterprise that can give vocations to our youth. As all of you know, we need 10 lakh jobs every month. In keeping with this national goal, the theme of the year that I adopted was creating employment. I must take this opportunity to thank our trustees, our managing committee members, our committee chairman, and our secretariat for the help and wholehearted cooperation during my term as your president. I firmly believe that chambers play a key role in national development. They influence government policy. They spur growth of our economy. They create employment. In fact, there are many countries around the world that make it mandatory for corporates to join a chamber. Two countries which are examples in Europe are Germany and Hungary, and I don't think it's a coincidence that these two countries are the fastest growing economies in Europe today. I shall now summarize the activities of the IMC during my term as president. As I said, the theme for the year was creating employment, because we need to gainfully deploy and employ our youth. And this has been consistent policy throughout the year as my term as your president. I shall start off by reciting the special new initiatives that I took during my term as president. Next year is Gandhiji's 150th birth anniversary. We are blessed that he was an honorary member of our chamber and the only chamber that he joined. IMC played a very active role in India's independence movement. Many of our business houses actively participated in this movement. IMC wished to recognize and commemorate this. We thus celebrated IMC Mahatma Gandhi Day just a few days ago. We gave citations to two outstanding business families for their contribution to India's freedom movement. This included the Bajaj family and the Birla family. We joined hands with the Khadi and Village Industries Commission to have a Khadi exhibition. We gave a check of about 19 lakhs to them to give charkhas to village entrepreneurs and create employment. These are a few shots of that event. You can see Shekhar Bajaj there and Rajshiji here and the chairman of KVIC. These are the citations that we gave to these two business families, which are long, long deserved. And we had, of course, Mr. Dharmadhikari as our chief guest, and this is the chairman of KVIC standing together with him. We then followed this up with an exhibition which included Khadi for 2 days at the Bajaj Hall. The second initiative that I undertook was to start a series of lectures called the Business Icon Series. The future of India lies in its youth. We stress our demographic strength, but they will pay dividends to India only if we motivate them to start new enterprises. Just for USA startups, Amazon, Facebook, Apple and Google have a valuation in excess of $3 trillion, which is more than the entire GDP of India. I repeat, just 4 startups till recently in the USA now have a combined valuation of more than the entire GDP of this country. With this in mind, we ran the Business Icon Lecture Series to spur our growth and our budding entrepreneurs. And here are some pictures which you can see. It has Mr. Hiranandani, who's heading the Hiranandani group of companies. Then I spoke at this event. Then we had Dr. Batra, who very famous, as you know, in the homeopathic field, and he started a chain of hospitals around the world. Then we had Mr. Habil Khurakiwala, who heads Wockhardt and also past chairman of FICCI. Then we had Nadir Godrej of the Godrej Group. So we had many illustrious speakers who spoke at this series of seminars, and the whole objective was to motivate young entrepreneurs to deliver and do the best for India. And I'm sure we achieved that result. The other thing that I think we took cognizance of the fact is that our police force, which I believe is the best police force in India at least, deserved recognition. They keep our lives safe on a day-to-day basis and even at risk to their lives. So we ran an award and we recognized policemen who deserve recognition. We formed a committee together with the commissioner and his appointees, together with ourselves, and we recognized them at a function and gave them a small token of our love and affection and gratitude. Now this is the commissioner standing here. There's a policeman who got the award. And this, I think, was again overdue. And I hope that this is continued on a year-to-year basis. As you know, we are an apex chamber of commerce, which really means that we have many other associations and chambers as our members, and they are our strength. So I made a very, very special effort to ensure that they are knitted in to our system. And I have gone far and wide, including traveling outside Mumbai, to Kolhapur, to Surat. I've attended many of the functions in the city of Mumbai, and I've hosted lunch for them, for example, to make sure that they are integrated into our system. Now, this is a function that we held in Navi Mumbai with the Sena Belapur Association. This is the function at Kolhapur, when we went to travel to Kolhapur together with the Secretariat. Arvind Bhai was there and Khati was there, and we spent the whole day with them. Great function that they had. Then we had several lunch functions with the presidents of our farm members. I was the guest of honor at the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Surat, which I went to attend their function. So we had a very, very active association with our members who are associations and chambers, and this has paid rich dividends and will continue to pay rich dividends in future, I have no doubt whatsoever. Let me now turn to the ladies' wing. Women are crucial for our national growth. It is estimated that our GDP can rise by 10% if we leverage our female resources. So they're very, very valuable to India. India, I believe, has always respected women and indeed put them on a pedestal. Let me illustrate this. Lakshmi is our goddess of wealth. Saraswati is our goddess of learning and wisdom, or Vidya. Durga is our goddess of strength, or Shakti, which is generally attributed to men. Now, this is not a coincidence. It was by design. So I think we've always respected women and put them on a pedestal. I firmly believe that the ladies' wing is the backbone of IMC. They represent Dhan, Vidya, and Shakti. This is what we represent. So they're very, very crucial to this organization. And I made every effort during my term to encourage their activities, and I participated in as many as I could of their functions. This is one of the functions where they felicitated the naval establishment in the city of Mumbai, and that's Vice Admiral Puri there, because Dutra there. Here you go, that they gave an award to Deepika Singh Rajawat. It was the Kathua case, which became very widely reported in the press. Then they felicitated Lakshmi Agarwal, who had unfortunately been a rape victim and really traumatic life, and she was felicitated by the ladies' wing. The next point I'd like to come to is our youth wing. The Young Leaders Forum, I think, is the future of, as I've said, of this country and of IMC. Our future presidents will come from the young leaders that we have. So I have made very special effort to encourage their activities, and they have responded magnificently, I can tell you. They were very active throughout the whole year, and there are lots of functions that they held during the chamber, which are very, very well attended. And here are some of them. Here you have Vipul Shah, film producer. Then you have, again, here the felicitation of Mrs. Kapoor. Then Nilam Desai of Morgan Stanley. Then they visited Bajaj Auto and Link Agrotech Private Limited by the youth wing. The next initiative that I took was to try and bring a different color to our managing committee meetings. So we took on the task of debating what I thought were very important, pressing national problems. And here are some of the things that we did. The first debate that we did was on political reforms. This country needs political reforms, as all of you know, and all the speakers and participants admitted. And as you know, part of the corruption that this country has is thanks to the money that is used in the election time. And they all admitted that somehow this needs to change. So we had a very healthy debate on political reforms at our managing committee meeting. The other issue which became a serious problem thanks to the Facebook thing that is reported in the press very widely is our privacy threatened? Do we have a right to privacy? Do we have a private life? Can it be encroached upon? So we ran a program on is our privacy threatened? Very well debated, and I think this is a matter of serious concern going forward, and we need to take a national consensus on whether privacy is a fundamental right and the way we need to protect our privacy. The last significant event that I did was our agreement with the MCX. MCX stands for Multi-Commodity Exchange, and it is playing a crucial role. As you know, commodities include metals, energy, including oil, agriculture, and several other components. I believe that MCX is as important as our stock exchanges. It's crucial to our economy. Therefore, I'm delighted that we are able to sign an MOU with MCX to work together with them on commodities going forward. So here's that event where we had the managing director of MCX come over and we signed a MOU together with them to work jointly with them. Now, gentlemen, IMC has had a very active year. We ran over 200 events during the year. Some days where we ran 3 events. And I know I had to run from South Bombay to North Bombay and back to attend these events. I tried to attend as many as I could. We have encapsulated some of them in a series of slides which I will show to you. These cover 8 broad areas which you will see. First is our policy interaction with the government, ministers, and their bureaucrats. Second is the activities and events of our youth wing. Third, our international exposure, including meeting with ambassadors and consuls. I firmly believe that we don't live in an insulated society. We have to work with other countries all the time. And only those countries who work with other countries, despite what Trump is doing, import and export and trade and so on, are very important to the world at large. So I've made a very special effort to encourage our interaction with our ambassadors, and you will see that with our consuls, and this has paid, I think, rich dividends. Then we've interacted with many dignitaries. We made a very special effort, like the governor of Mumbai, for example. We spent time with him. For example, we had the head of RSS, Mohan Bhagwat, come over and visit with us. So we made a very special effort to try and meet with dignitaries who are so important to this chamber. The 5th item that we looked at is the ladies' wing. I continue to repeat that the ladies' wing is crucial to this chamber, and they are a very talented bunch of people. The best of connection, the best of intentions, and very, very capable. So I think we made a special effort to encourage the ladies' wing to perform more and more and more. And they responded magnificently, I must tell you that. They've done a great job. And Mohana, I think, will have a great year. So Mohana, I'm looking forward to your year this year. Next is the awards given by IMC. I always say man does not live by bread alone. It's not only money and food that motivate you. It's a pat on the back. So therefore, we've made a special effort to give that pat on the back to organizations and to individuals that deserve the pat on the back. And you will see many awards that IMC has given for the year. Then we will have a list of 100 plus events that we ran throughout the year. There are too many of them to list, or you'll spend the next 2 hours looking at those slides. But we will show you some of the slides that I think are important events that took place during my term as president. And last but not the least, we have a few slides on Navi Mumbai, which is an extension of IMC on the other side of the Gulf. And I think we have had a wonderful, wonderful year. So gentlemen, I thought that it would be best to put this in auto mode, and so you can see for yourself. Thank you very much. It's been an action-packed year for me, and I've spent, I suspect, 70 to 80% of my time at the chamber. Somebody lightheartedly told my wife that, Madam, I now gave your husband back to you. I think in a way, it said it all. I must take this opportunity once again to congratulate our incoming President, Mr. Raj Nair, who I'm sure he'll have a great year. Mr. Ashish Vaid, our incoming Vice President, our trustees, managing committee members, committee chairman and co-chairman, members of our secretariat, for their help and wholehearted cooperation rendered to me during my term. I'm particularly thankful to our FAR members, and I believe 40 or 50 presidents of our FAR members are present in this audience today, which speaks for itself. And most important, I must thank all our members, each one of you present here and not present here, for all the help and cooperation during my term. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Kanodia, for putting in a nutshell the glory of this chamber, and also, among other things, for enumerating the varied activities led by you in line with the theme of last year, creating employment. Ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned earlier, though Shri Jaikumar Rawal, Honorable Minister for Tourism and Employment Guarantee Scheme, could not attend this event owing to the cabinet meeting, which was called last minute, he has sent an audio message which we will play now. Can we have the message, please?
Good morning. Namaskar. This is Jaikumar Rawal, Tourism Minister, Government of Maharashtra. We have Honorable Respected Srimati Rajshri Birla ji, an icon of industry, our Chairman Dr. Lalit Kanodia ji, our President-elect Raj Nair, Honorable dignitaries on the dais, respected dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, and the torchbearers of business. A very warm good morning to all of you all. I was supposed to be there amongst you all today, but due to some very important responsibility, I would not be coming there and joining you all later. It is an honor to be a part of the 110th annual general meeting of Indian Merchant Chambers, especially at the backdrop of having the Asian Investment for Infrastructure Bank annual general meeting happening yesterday. It was the third meeting of AIIBP, and in that meeting where people around the world, governors from around the world had come to Mumbai, it was a very big opportunity for India, and we can see a lot of investment, global investment coming into infrastructure. The chairman was also very excited about looking at India in the next coming years. Honorable Prime Minister addressed the August gathering, and I had the privilege of being there. In fact, I had to come there and talk about the tourism industry. Tourism industry, as we all know, is one of the biggest, the largest industries in the world, and about 10.2% of the global GDP was done by the tourism industry, amounting to around 14 trillion US dollars in 2016. So it's a large industry. It is a big stimulator for business, trade, and at the same time a big employment generator. In fact, I would have loved to elaborate and talk and discuss about it, but I think when I'm not present, it doesn't really see that I should talk much. But anyways, I would have loved to be a part of you all, and IMC has been the torchbearer of business for a century now. And when India and Mumbai was shaping up, Indian Merchants Chambers played a very important role, played and is playing a very important role in shaping up business policies. In fact, as a minister, I would like to state that IMC is an organization which helps shape up business rules and regulations because they have such an interactive board of members who always keep on suggesting what is needed best, what can be done, what can be added, what shouldn't, what regulations are not required. All these things, the interactive session is very, very important from IMC's part, and we always look forward for suggestions and ideas and feedback of industry from IMC. I won't take much of your time, but I would have loved to meet all of you all. It's an honor being able to address you all, and we look forward to taking the industry to the next level, because the next century, as we say, is the century of Asia and particularly of India. So India has a very bright future in trade industry, and we all have to work towards. It's not only the responsibility of the Prime Minister, Chief Minister, or the ministers or the government. I think we all need to take responsibility, and we all together can make India one of the largest powers, the economic powers of the world. Thank you so much, and good luck to Sri Raj Nair, who's president-elect, and his new team. I hope they will, and I hope and I'm sure that they will continue to carry on the rich legacy of IMC. Thank you so much. Good luck to all of you all.
That was the message from the Honorable Minister on this very special occasion. And now I invite our chief guest, Srimati Rajashri Birla, Chairperson, Aditya Birla Center for Community Initiatives and Rural Development, for her address on the topic, Business with a Purpose. Ma'am.
Dr. Laliji Kanodia, Dr. Laliji Kanodia, Mr. Arvind Pradhan, Mr. Ajit Mangrulkar, Mr. Raj Narayan, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great honor to address this distinguished audience on this milestone occasion on the 110th AGM of your chamber. The IMC is among India's most admired and respected Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations on the marvelous work you do in every sphere of business. In my talk, I'll focus on the purpose of business. Today, we see a tectonic shift in the very notion of the business of business. The time is long past when the sole purpose of business was to make money, grow in revenues and earnings, and fundamentally reward shareholders. Today, as well, profitability is of paramount importance and an entrepreneurial necessity. Only when an organization makes profit in a values-led manner can it sustain and grow its businesses. Profits are important to reward shareholders and employees. Profits are important to plow back into product innovations and research so that the customer can say, wah, wah. Today, progressive business houses run businesses with a much larger purpose. Business understands that it cannot operate in isolation, that business has to work in the larger good of society. The quality of life of a people and the interest of corporations are interlinked. Only in healthy societies with a reasonable amount of disposable income can an organization ensure its future sustainability. Of course, besides this, increasingly, organizations are mindful and conscious of their image. The quality of a life of people, the larger good of society, developing healthy societies that can stand on their own feet is part of the purpose of business. I want to address this issue on a two-pronged strategy, addressing social challenges and second, of building sustainable businesses that can thrive long into the future through responsible stewardship programs. Moving on to the first issue of social challenges, there is a heartening change. In the recent decades and across geographies, we see an increasing trend in business. Business houses recognize that they need to help those who are less privileged. We see the institutionalization of giving. The Harvard Kennedy Schools, the Hanser Institute for Civil Society's report on global giving by Paul Johnson reveals that there are 260,000 foundations in 39 countries. Over 60% of these are in Europe and 35% in North America. The assets exceed US $1.5 trillion. They plow their money into humanitarian welfare-driven measures, and over 10% of the people globally live on less than $2 a day, and this includes near 20% of Indian population. Emerging economies face pressing challenges in healthcare, water sanitation, education. These include India, Cambodia, Myanmar, Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam. Developed economies of the West, Europe, and countries like Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, to cite a few, have aging problems, gender issues, declining workforce, and so on. In all these cases, business houses feel that these social issues, which foster inclusiveness and equity, are as much their concerns. In my view, business rightfully must make it their purpose as well. So it is very encouraging that countries have subscribed to the UN Sustainable Development Goals articulated in 2015. Business is the index, by and large, of a nation's well-being. So I see a definite connect between SDGs and business objectives on the aspect of inclusive and a more equitable society. The SDGs are a bold universal agreement to end poverty every which way. Its laudable vision is also to craft an equal, fair, and secure world for people, the planet, and prosperity by 2030. These were adopted by 193 member states at the UN General Assembly Summit. The SDGs came into effect on January 1st, 2016. Our government has accepted the goals and based the structure and focus of our nation's social investment on the SDGs goals as well. The SDG outlines 17 clear goals, all of which are universally relevant, such as goal number 3, good health and well-being, goal number 4, education, goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. These are challenges that we in India are also facing. We firmly believe that these cannot be resolved by just the government or philanthropists. Business must help overcome them and make it their purpose. Let me share some facts. 360 million Indians live below the poverty line, as mentioned in the Economic Survey of India 2018. 175 million suffer from malnutrition. Again, the source is Economic Survey of India 2018. 32 million children in India between ages 6 to 13 have never attended school, as mentioned in 2011 India census. 63 million Indians do not have access to clean water, sourced from WaterAid India's annual report 2017. The India story is always one of the glass being half full or empty, half empty. The government has done enormous work, but we have to do more. Fortunately, social investment is gaining traction. There is the ecosystem of investors, entrepreneurs, and enablers, all of whom are significantly engaged in social impact initiatives. India is in the midst of a historic transformation. There is the promise of the end of poverty by 2022. A decent roof over every individual's head and a life of dignity through sustainable livelihood. There is reducing inequality, and that is why business must make it their purpose to achieve this vision in step with the government. Business has a very critical part to play and must proactively address issues. Having said that, businesses would do well by aligning priorities with the government's agenda of poverty alleviation. Pursuing the SDGs in one of the ways to fast forward those engagements with the government and other corporates. This will have maximum impact and achieve scale with minimum reinvention of the wheel. The government's 2% CSR mandate in 2013 has led to more than 20,000 companies contributing and elevating their business purposefully. Families such as the Bajaj, the Tatas, and the Godrej and ours, to name a few, have always and continue to conduct business with a purpose. Service to society is at the heart of our value system. It all began with my grandfather-in-law, Shri G.D. Birla. Dadoji, as we affectionately call my grandfather-in-law, was greatly influenced by the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. They developed a special bond, a bond that united them in the pursuit of a common cause, and that was working towards our country's independence. The relationship evolved, and there was a large measure of affection between the two. Gandhiji would say, "God has given me mentors, and I regard you as one of them." And Dadoji would say that he was the Mahatma's follower. In fact, when he wrote his memoirs, he titled them as "In the Shadow of the Mahatma." Dadoji supported Gandhiji every which way. He felt very deeply that his wealth was to be used to assist Gandhiji in the struggle for our country's freedom. For more than 25 years, he supported Gandhiji's nationalism with his financial strength. In Gandhiji, he found a leader who only thought of the needs of others and not of himself. Dadoji's giving was for a cause and for the man he looked upon as an icon. So within the Birla family, Dadoji embedded the trusteeship concept, which entailed caring and giving to those in need. This kind of became a legacy bequeathed to all of us in the family, and we try to live by it. My husband Adityaji rigorously practiced it. He reached out to communities, sending out a clear message that business is not an end in itself, but rather a means to an end. He believed that as a group, we would be failing if we did not provide the poor the support and the means to break out of their poverty. He also embedded the concept of sustainable livelihood into it. He ensured that all of our group companies were involved in meaningful welfare-driven initiatives that distinctly impacted the quality of lives of the weaker sections of society. He felt that inclusive growth was a responsibility to be carried forward generation after generation. With my son Kumar Mangalam, we embarked on the path of a transformative journey hinged on restoring the dignity of the underprivileged. Kumar Mangalam institutionalized the process with the setting up of the Aditya Birla Center for Community Initiatives and Rural Development, which I am privileged to lead, assisted by Dr. Pragya Ram. It is a fully professional setup, and Kumar Mangalam feels that the center is run like a parallel organization. Today we work in 5,000 villages, reaching out to 7.5 million people pan-India. We have a very holistic approach. Our focus areas are education, healthcare, sustainable livelihood, infrastructure development, and social reform. Our vision is to actively contribute to the social and economic development of the underserved communities, lifting the burden of poverty, and helping bring in inclusive growth. In so doing, build a better, sustainable way of life for the weakest sections of society and raise the country's Human Development Index. Our social vision is part of the business vision. We have a 1-year plan and a 3-year rolling plan. We have targeted goals in every area. We have measurements, metrics. We have audits by reputed external parties. So it is run very much like a business. We have an ROI, which is the turnaround of villages, the upliftment of people from below the poverty line to a line of confidence and self-esteem. I'm sure many of the corporates present here would have similar processes and do run their business with purpose. There's yet another subject which I want to emphasize today. I believe the biggest factor driving growth is our population. India is one of the youngest countries in the world with a median age of 27.3, which means half of the population, or about 650 million, are below this age. Most other major economies are aging rapidly, with sharply declining numbers in the working age group, but with a growing number of older people who tend to drag the economy growth a bit. The potential demographic dividend that India will reap will be one of the factors contributing to rapid economic growth over the next quarter century. We in business will all need to get up collectively to ensure that they are productively deployed. It will be worthwhile to focus on setting up vocational training centers. This will ensure honing of appropriate skill sets and employability. I'm delighted to share with you that recognizing this aspect, we have set up 12 vocational training centers pan-India under the aegis of the Aditya Birla Skills Foundations. Since its inception 2 years ago, more than 2,000 youngsters have been trained in different skill sets. Over 80% have secured jobs through tie-ups with major corporates in those areas. The rest have set up their own ventures. I hope most of you will also do so. Let me also focus on some of the environment issues. Around the year 2050, the Earth's population is estimated to reach to 9 billion people. Corporates will need to subscribe to responsible stewardship and have a sustainability framework that conforms to the best world standards. Natural resources are feeling enormous strain. Most of us are well aware that India, and in fact a large part of the world, stands on a precipice. Climate change, water scarcity, stress plus pollution, and an overload of waste is already happening. The purpose of business is to pursue responsible growth, or else we will set the planet on perhaps an irreversible course to unsustainability. Sustainable development and responsible growth mean one and the same. Organizations with a purpose have increasingly begun synergizing growth with responsibility. They are veering away from the development paradigm of the earlier times, which comprised the interest of the environment in pursuit of profitable growth. Environment has to be an important constituent of the business portfolio. Business needs to accelerate the pace. In this context, at our group, let me quote Kumar Mangalam's philosophy. Our business model is built on responsible stewardship, which is premised on sustainable business practices, and on it hinges a sustainable world. This entails that we ensure the right balance between society, environment, and economy. In this context, our constant endeavor is to enhance our environment conservation measures, continue to be profitable, and sensitivity towards social well-being. Our vision is to become the leading Indian conglomerate for sustainable business practices across our global operations. This is the overarching sustainability vision, and each company is committed to it. It is embedded in the business framework. In essence, when we talk of business with purpose, it entails prioritizing attention to social concerns, environmental sensitivity, sustainable business practices that unrelentingly create stakeholder value. Let me conclude in the words of Sir Richard Branson of Virgin. I think if the people who work for a business are proud of the business they work for, they will work that much harder, and therefore, I think turning a business into a real force for good is good business sense as well. Thank you.
Should I help you?
Yes, please.
Thank you so very much for sharing your valuable insights, your thought-inspiring perspective, and of course, your plans for the future. Thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, IMC has made a film that showcases its legacy, contemporary history, and activities right from its inception in the year 1907 till date. We will now launch this new film. Kindly take a look at the screens.
It is the long history of humankind that those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed. A fine example of these words is the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, formerly known as the Indian Merchants Chamber. The chamber is the voice of over 200,000 corporates with the combined strength of more than 4,500 members and 220 trade and educational institutions. Identified as a chamber with a global presence, IMC is on the board of the World Chambers Federation and has signed MOUs with the United Nations and more than 150 other chambers of commerce across various countries and government agencies. With the numbers still growing, the IMC has gained the strength to be the undisputed voice of Indian industry.
We are very proud of the fact we therefore represent the cream of the cream industry in this country. On the one hand, we help our members. On the other, we submit recommendations to the government so that they can institute policies which can ease and accelerate the business in India. Our activities include running seminars, holding exhibitions, We host inbound delegations, we take outbound delegations, and we facilitate international trade, which we believe is crucial to India's development.
IMC has spanned over 11 decades. To understand the spirit of IMC, one must go back in time.
Indian Merchants Chamber started in 1907 under the leadership of the visionary Manmohan Das Ramji, the eminent Indian businessman.
The economic policies of the then alien government in India were dictated by associations which had no other interests but to look after the welfare of the colonizers and traders. And it was such associations, uncaring and unfair economic policies that made Indian traders and merchants realize the need to form their own chamber, Indian Merchants Chamber.
These gentlemen of great experience, great patriotism, lent their support, their advice and their knowledge to government in formulating policies.
I want to compliment the IMC on its proactive liaison and advocacy efforts with ministers, senior bureaucrats and civil society. Its repository of accumulated knowledge, its long experience and the cohesion amongst its institutional and corporate members enable the IMC to work very closely with the Indian government on policy matters essential for development and growth.
This was the only chamber whose honorary membership Mahatma Gandhi accepted. Starting with only 23 members, the IMC's membership grew over the years, with many prominent icons of industry as members, as well as parliamentarians and those who later became cabinet ministers. From Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to Shri Narendra Modi, IMC has the rare honor of visits by almost all the presidents and prime ministers of India. Inaugurated by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in 1939, this prestigious IMC building stands in the heart of South Mumbai. In 1967, as a memorial for the late Mr. F.E. Dinshaw, a well-equipped commercial and financial library was built. The then Honorable Chief Justice of the Mumbai High Court, Mr. Mohit Shah, inaugurated IMC's International ADR Center.
Cases are pending for years and years. IMC has taken a lead and set up an international ADR center which will cover all alternate dispute resolutions including reconciliation and mediation.
The IMC Provincial Ravi Gandhi Chair in Banking and Finance, who instituted to perpetuate the memories of late Sri Provincial Gandhi, who was a trustee as well as a past president of IMC. The chair serves dual purposes: promote our own National University of Eminence, that is the Mumbai University, and secondly, fulfill the long-felt need as there was no chair for banking and finance in the University of Mumbai.
IMC also has a strong ladies' wing, promoting professional excellence of women entrepreneurs.
In these past years, we have achieved a lot. We have empowered a lot of women from the urban sector. For Impact, which we hold on Women's Day, we found that the woman artisan in the rural area is to be celebrated. So we synergized with the urban woman and the rural woman and brought each other into focus.
IMC initiates a number of conferences on topical national interests in various sectors like infrastructure, banking, financial services, aviation, urban development, railways and many more. IMC also hosts a number of foreign and Indian dignitaries.
IMC approached me to help them get involved in actually creating a startup committee. Our agenda, therefore, was defined as thought leadership, advocacy, and partnerships, and extremely excited to participate with several youngsters from across the state, and we spoke about building companies and entrepreneurship.
A variety of awards have been initiated by IMC to encourage innovation, quality, and development in various fields.
IMC is very proud to have the Ramkrishna Bajaj National Quality Award and the Juran Quality Medal. This we started over 20 years back to get Indian corporates to assist them to be able to focus on quality and compete in the world. I must also mention the IMC Juran Quality Medal, and that is given to an individual. The Ramkrishna Bajaj National Quality Award is for corporates, the most prestigious quality award in the country.
IMC encourages innovation, recognizing outstanding services and accomplishments of organizations and individuals with the Inclusive Innovation Awards.
And there was a reason to create these awards, Inclusive Innovation Awards. See, India needs growth, but it has to be inclusive growth. And for that, you require inclusive innovation, because it is only innovation-led growth that can take India up there.
In terms of social responsibilities, IMC has been active through a number of forums. As India races towards a bright future, the IMC is accentuating its progress with its vital strength and leadership by aligning its aims with those of the governments, ensuring India's transformation to a fully developed economy.
IMC will do everything in its power, and so will its members, to achieve this objective, to put India on that pinnacle which India deserves to be.
Our collective ambition must be to take India, Indian enterprises, and the Indian economy to the top of the global ladder. Let us build a grand coalition of all Indians under the auspices of IMC for building a new India today. IMC will have a big role to play in building and nurturing this partnership.
आप जिस संस्था का हिस्सा है, उसका बहुत ही गौरवशाली इतिहास रहा है। स्वदेशी आंदोलन की पृष्ठभूमि में इसकी स्थापना हुई है, कुछ न कुछ योगदान दिया है, और इसके लिए आपकी संस्था प्रशंसा के पात्र है। आईएमसी मैं आपका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूं। धन्यवाद।
Well, ladies and gentlemen, IMC has also compiled a book, My Business Journey. This was a novel initiative by Dr. Lalit Kanodia himself to enthuse young entrepreneurs to learn from successes and failures of business icons of the nation. I request Rajashri ji to kindly release the book. This, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, is the book My Business Journey, a compilation by the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, initiated by its president, Dr. Lalit Kanodia. Moments to be treasured in the form of photographs. And now, I would request Rajashri ji to please present Long Service Awards to employees who have completed 20 long years in the IMC. Beginning with Mr. Sanjay Vakkar. that is Mr. Sanjay Vakkar, receiving the Long Service Award for completing 20 years in IMC. And next in line, we have Mr. Anil Panchal. That is Mr. Anil Panchal receiving the Long Service Award. And Mr. Sitaram Salve. That is Mr. Sitaram Salve. Thank you. And now I would request Rajeshri to please present a memento to Mr. Arvind Pradhan, Director General, IMC, who will be retiring towards the end of this month after close to a decade of meritorious service to the Indian Merchants Chambers. Thank you so very much, Mr. Pradhan, for your dedicated services to the Chamber. Thank you. And a token of appreciation to the outgoing President, Dr. Lalit Kanodia, for his outstanding contribution to the Chamber. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. You may please take your seats while I request Mr. Raj Nair, President-elect IMC for the year 2018-19, to address the audience and also propose the vote of thanks.
Mrs. Rajeshri Birla, the dignitaries in dais, the dignitaries in front of me, including the past presidents, and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking out time to be with us on this very important day for IMC. I'd also like to recognize my mother, 90-year-old mother, who has come. She said it must come here today. Thank you. To Dr. Kanodia, I'd like to say a big, big thank you for all the wonderful things that you did this year. You did what you believed in. I know right at the beginning of the year you said that you believe that you get the best results out of people by empowering them. And boy, did you not empower all the committees. Thank you. I'd like to thank Mr. Arvind Pradhan, who demits his office at the end of this month. You played a very big role, and you took IMC from what it was when you took over to what it is today. Thank you very much. I want to thank all the Long Service Award winners because they made a big difference to IMC by being with us for so long. Our thanks go to every single member of the Secretariat, which has worked silently but very, very hard and in a dedicated fashion, and have risen to every time there was a call and there was a crisis, and there were many. The Taj has always been very special to us. They've rendered excellent service, and they're doing it today too. Thank you, Taj. That leaves me to thank two very important partners. One is the press, which has always been on the side of IMC and have helped us and supported us. Thank you very much for being here today. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank the sponsors, Reliance Limited and Datamatics, for being generous and for making it possible to hold an event at this scale. Thank you. Since we are slightly ahead of schedule, I'll take this opportunity to talk about what we're going to do the next year. I've got a small film. Can you play that, please? It's a 1.5-minute film put together by my colleagues at Avra. So the world is changing and so are we. It's my proud privilege to lead the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry at a very important juncture in the history of Indian business. The future of Indian business depends on what business people, business leaders like you and everyone in this room does over the next 6 to 24 months. Because the world is moving very rapidly into what some people describe as the fourth industrial revolution. In order to succeed in this fourth industrial revolution, we have to reposition ourselves quite significantly differently from what it was, because we as a nation lost out in the 3 previous industrial revolutions. None of us can claim that in the last 260 years India came on top, but this time around we ought to try and do it. This time around, our battle will be fought with innovation and technology. We have to earn our right on the international stage or the world stage, not just there, but also in our own domestic market. Global players are in here, the market is open, and they come in with long, efficient, digitally empowered supply chains. They come with incredible knowledge about the market, insights to the market, and understanding of personal behavior, which is possible today because of analytics. We can do all that too. While technology is definitely driving the fourth industrial revolution, there's another turbulent current which is sweeping the globe. Human frailties are creating new political equations that seem to encourage nationalism over globalization. Globalization could have benefited humanity at large, especially emerging countries like India, which have cost advantage. We have the advantage of being able to deploy workmen at scale, and we have the advantage of astute business people like gentlemen and ladies in front of me. In fact, China didn't have that last bit when they started out. We are also lucky that we have a government which is very supportive, which understands how to balance the interests of business, workmen and farmers, and the environment. It's a tough balance to achieve, but they're getting there. We are also lucky and fortunate that we are a growing economy, among the largest, fastest growing economies among the large top 10 economies. So it's very difficult for any country to ignore India. That said, we must recognize the fact that this growing nationalism is a threat. Not just that it prevents or blocks market access for exportable goods and services, which we have and we want to, but also it blocks access to technology and access to essential raw materials, which are rare. And this is not a prediction, this is already in play. In some sense, there would have been a feeling of deja vu if the founders of our chamber were to visit us today. In 1907 and the early years after that, they fought valiantly for the interests, to protect the interests of Indian business people who had to face all kinds of hurdles in colonial times. Today, IMC sees itself in a similar position. It is not against colonial powers, but it's the change that's happening around us, and we want to make sure that we are there to help each one of you, our members. The theme for my year is helping you succeed. All kinds of businesses have sprung up in this new world, and for you to understand what it takes to succeed, you'll have to understand how the digital world is going to impact your own industry sector. Some might say, oh, the digital world started almost 30 years ago. And most of us have succeeded, despite the fact that we have embraced some tools to some extent. And some of us have succeeded in spite of completely ignoring anything digital. So can this happy situation continue? I dare say it can't. And that's because something has happened very recently. Three things have come together: the smartphone, the internet, and more recent digital technologies. When these three combine, they tend to have a lethal force that can disrupt all kinds of industries. In fact, 6 of the most important sectors that touch us in our daily lives have got disrupted to some extent or the other by this triad coming together. They are roti, kapda, makan, which is food, clothing, and housing. Add to that entertainment, education, travel, and leisure. By and large, these are the 6 sectors that touch us as human beings every day. And these have got disrupted because all kinds of new companies have come from outside the industry and have created a new game, new paradigm. Many companies who are already in the business have adapted to this change and are doing well, but there are so many who are struggling, and some of them will go kaput. It is logical to expect that all the companies upstream of these 6 industries or these sectors and downstream of these sectors are going to get disrupted, and that has started. So when that happens, 90% or more of all businesses and industries would get disrupted or impacted by digital technologies. I'll just give an example. Travel and tourism, as the minister said, is the largest business sector in the world. It's larger than the entire chemical industry and the petrochemical industry combined. It had deep-rooted players with a long history of success. But 20 years ago, Microsoft came along and set up a travel website. And that travel website, in 5 years, I'm talking about Expedia, it became the largest travel agency in the world. Now you might say it's a very crowded market and that you don't use Expedia all the time. You use Trivago, Travelocity, Orbitz, Hotels.com, Hotwire, Cheap Tickets, eBookers, and say it's a crowded market. But do you know that all these have come out from the Microsoft stable? And they're all owned by the same Expedia. So you might be using all these things. So you can just understand how one company has completely grabbed that industry under different names. The same thing is happening with Amazon. The same thing has happened with Cisco, which has got 70% market share. So we should be very swift and nimble and be proactive. You have to be wary of competitors coming from outside the industry. They will eat your lunch, eat our lunch, if we don't act swiftly. A recent survey done of 1,900 global CEOs concluded that 60% of them said that their industry or their companies will get completely sunk by 2020 unless they transform their companies and actually look for new business models to compete in. So these are 1,900 of large global companies. So how do you think we are going to be exempt? So it's here that IMC wants to step in and help all its members. We have already started the process of getting leaders of global companies who are in this space to come and give us insights, give all of us insights. And those who are not members, please join us, join IMC. A little bit of selling and marketing here at this stage, so that you can benefit from all that we're trying to do in this year when we're trying to say, we are out here to help you succeed. To this end, we are also encouraging every single corporate member of IMC to depute 4 of your people to come and take the benefit of what we're doing at the chamber this year. As the chairman or the CEO or the owner of the company, you may not have the time or the inclination to come and spend time on these matters, but your CEO, your CTO, your CMO or a head of HR, they ought to come, and they shouldn't miss out on what's happening at IMC. A lot is happening and a lot more is going to happen. IMC will continue to provide advocacy, but it will also put a special emphasis on helping the government. As the minister said, we are already active, we're going to be even more active. We are committed to your success in this world where everything seems to be changing rapidly. It's a volatile world. Some people say that the volatility has been increased by a Twitter-happy global leader who makes unpredictable tweets every morning. But be that as it may, there's an opportunity for you and for all of us to exploit this volatility to succeed. Because when everything is stable, it's very difficult for us to succeed. So we'd like you to not be meek defenders, but actually active winners. There's an appropriate quote attributed by some to Michelangelo, who is my personal hero. The greater danger for most of us, according to him, lies not in aiming high and falling short, but aiming low and achieving it. Thank you. Aim high and win.
So then, extremely uplifting note, we conclude this public session of the 110th AGM of IMC. So thank you all for being a wonderfully lovely audience. Kindly note that the business session, which is for IMC members only, strictly for IMC members, will be conducted immediately in the gateway room. So IMC members are invited to attend this meeting at the gateway room, and the rest can please join for lunch that has been arranged towards the rear end of this crystal room. This is Manasi taking your leave. Thank you all. And before we split, a group picture of all those on the dais.
आराम से 2-3 लोग